Hello and welcome to a quick 18 protection overview on how to defend your company's Active Directory against breached password dumps. The internet is alight with millions and millions of usernames and passwords, and anyone out there today who has Google extreme knowledge or basic knowledge or any type of Google knowledge can find passwords, breach password dumps on the internet. So, how do we defend from it? And there are a number of ways. Number one, have really good password managers. Because let's be honest, we all reuse the same password over and over and over again. Even if we're smarter than that and we change a few characters, rainbow lists take care of that for us. And so the best way to do it is get a password manager or use a really cool long password that is over 5 or 6 words, over 25 characters, and that can really work well for you. And I've got that in our blog that you can check out. Another great way is to set up multi-factor authentication. So if your password is compromised, you have another code that goes to a specific device that lets you on, just like most banking sites. Or you can go check out haveibeenpawned.com, and there's a great site there where you can check if your password has been breached, or if your email has, when the link password has been breached, and that is available in the blog as well. But if you have Azure and you are using Azure, they do most of these cool things for you. So first things first, jump into Azure, Microsoft Azure, portal.azure.com, and as long as you're an admin, you can then look for identity protection, and then you just click identity protection and set up this area. And straight away, this is a space that's going to do a number of things. They're going to check to see if you have a breach password. They're going to check to see where you're logging in from in the world, and if you're logging in from bad IP addresses, breach devices. If you don't have multi-factor authentication, and you really should, they're going to check a number of things. And so you can see straight away it shows that we have 25 users at risk. No high scores, so nothing crazy has happened. It's just maybe something has happened as one of their passwords have been breached, or they've been logging in from unknown IPs or something like that, and as well as low and closed. We've had a look at some of those problems, and we don't believe they're problems, and so we've resolved them. And so there's a great getting started guide, and it shows you how to discover if there are any vulnerabilities that you need to quickly mitigate. And it shows you straight away which users are flagged, and when they were flagged, last updated, the status, if they're risk or what's going on with them, the risk events, the amount of events that have triggered them to be flagged, and the risk level. So anything from high, medium, and low, and this would just be a view from this location where you'd be able to just simply click on this item and bring back that user list, which is great. And then risk events. So here's a good view of this, and sign in from an anonymous IP address. So that's sign in from a Tor address or a VPN or something that Azure has flagged as anonymous. Impossible travel. So that is simply someone has gone from one location to another in an impossible movement of time, and therefore flagged that as impossible, which means that most likely the credentials have been compromised, or and someone is logging in from another location in the world, or simply someone has logged into a VPN and they could be coming in from Cape Town when they're actually in Johannesburg, and then log off the VPN and carry on in Johannesburg. That's why it's flagged as medium. And then sign-ins from unfamiliar locations. No one's ever been to Bloemfontein before, but yet we're getting logins from there, and that's in that space over there. What's pretty cool is it's going to show us some vulnerabilities as well. So some best practices. So we've got too many global admins. We should reduce that. Two roles don't require multi-factor authentication for activation. Let's fix that. And we have 198 users without multi-factor authentication. So let's try and fix that. So we can configure a policy right here and here to enable multi-factor authentication across the entire organization and set what kind of controls we can do. We can also then select user risk policy, which means that at any point in time, if Azure believes that there's a user risk, then do something about it, which is great, and a sign-in risk policy, which means that if someone logs in and there's a risk, please then do something about it. And in this case, if we believe there's a sign-in risk and we have impossible travel or unknown IP address or device or breach password for whatever reason, we will then require multi-factor authentication. We can then also set up an alert to go to specific users or admins in the business, and we can say alert on any of these categories, so low, medium, and high. We can also send a weekly digest off to specific admins to say this is what happened this week. Please let that administrator know so they can take the appropriate action. Pin it to your dashboard, troubleshoot, and then select a new request. So that is a fantastic way to protect your company's Active Directory from breach passwords, unknown logins, all in Azure in 1, 2, 3 easy steps.